Alright, welcome back. Of course, this is a breakfast show coming to you live from Pure Africa TV, Pure Africa Radio. My name is Odhiambo.
And my name is Mwita.
Remember now we are getting to the second bit of this particular show, of course, where we'll get to delve deep into some of the newspapers, of course, looking at various sections and various subsections. Remember, we'll be looking at what is coming up in the world of politics, what is coming up in the world of entertainment, what is coming up in the world of sports as well, what is coming up in the world of business. That will be the second bit of this particular show, remember, and we are just here to begin it. But before that, I see comments coming in. Remember, today is the day that our KCSE students, our candidates, are beginning their national examinations. And so looking at looking at the comment section, Mwita, I just see a number of comments coming in. Of course, majority of them are sending their ways to the KCSE candidates, beginning with the Chacha Vitalis. I see Chacha Vitalis saying best wishes to all candidates of Kegonga boys, Saranganya boys, Isbania boys, Nyaroha Girls Secondary School, Komotobo Mixed Secondary School. Thank you very much. Of course, Peter Mwita, I see, wow, clarity is top, loud and clear. Thank you very much for tuning in to Pure Africa TV, Pure Africa Radio. Thank you, of course, for choosing the breakfast show live from Pure Africa TV. Chamasi, success wishes to all candidates nationwide tuned in from Narok, Transmara West. Thank you very much. Those are some of the comments, especially pertaining to their success. It's a very nice day.
And we are wishing all the candidates that are doing their exams today all the best.
Of course, from the breakfast show, we wish you the very best, good luck, good health, even during the whole period, during the entire period of examination. And so we just expect that all will be well, and they'll be able to get good results at the end of it.
I remember doing my own. I was a bit jittery. So for them, I'd like to tell them, don't to be jittery. You have been able to learn.
I tell you,
because there is a lot of pressure towards students when they are doing their national exams. Most of them, they believe that if they do not pass, they will not get chances to join universities or go to colleges and whatnot. So again, it's the pressure from outside, both within and outside, that even the teachers themselves will pressure them that the schools need to pass. The parents are pressuring the students that the student needs to pass. Anyways, if you're the vigilator or the police officer manning the station, and not the station, rather the school, you are not allowed to use your phone near the students. That if you want to take a call, you have to go outside, go to where it is, make the call, and then come back. Because there has been cases of cheating using phones, and again, Mago has really done his part in ensuring that malpractices are reduced in terms of
be a plus to the whole country. Thank you very much. Remember, you can as well follow us in our social media platforms. Of course, Facebook.
But Facebook is at Pure.
Now, there are a lot of predictions now as far as this subject of running mate is concerned again.
Now, a while back, there was talk about Raila doing something called climbing the mountain, and that was getting the Mount Kenya votes from Central, where he's getting a lot of competition from the Kenya Kwanza coalition. Now, one of the was a bit, he wasn't sure whether he really wanted to run for it. Then he decided to join Azimio. Wetangula followed. Again, if that is just a claim, it would be wrong. But then, if he's truly towards that agenda that he wants to bring the whole of this country together, there should be inclusivity. Marginalized community should be brought inside the government. There should be opportunities for everybody. There should be equal redistribution of resources in terms of devolution is there, and it has done that. And then they should curb on issues on corruption, so that to ensure that inclusivity is
actually there. What was also captured in BBI, remember,
yes.
Remember ODM leader saying that reggae is at halftime, and so all these communications relating them to BBI, because they are more over the same. They are more over the same. Yeah, conversations, those that are inclusivity. Even now, Raila will actually plan his government. Then again, you reflect on the Building Bridges initiative. You just find that there are a lot that are borrowed from that. And so, I think maybe reggae is still on the
manifesto will look similar to that.
To that of the Building Bridges initiative. And so, I know somebody remember this particular Tracy Wanjiru is still a student in a campus.
I think they are motivated. They will motivate a lot of you to join politics. Yeah, and even locally here around, we've had a lot of young people trying to get into
to venture into politics.
MCAs, MPs, governors, and senators. And it's a good thing, and it's a motivation, and it gives the youth an opportunity to say that if even them, they can be able to lead people.
And remember, Tracy Wanjiru is disabled.
She is also disabled. So I think it's a heartwarming story, and it's also motivating. That
very motivating, very encouraging. Yes. Of course, disability is not an inability.
Maybe in the next general election, I'll also vie for presidency.
Wow.
Yes. That freedom as we used to before, walking in public without a mask. But they have said in close quarters,
you have it. But getting there, there'll be no police officers, rushing over you there if you don't have it in public gathering. But in closed indoor meetings, they still recommend that you have your mask.
There is the issue whereby police have used that to harass a lot of people, citizenry, because you are not wearing a mask, and then you are caught, and then it's an issue, you have to pay fines for it. It would be, again, a breath of fresh air for most Kenyans, because you have undergone a lot. I've also, for once, I've been arrested.
You've been a victim.
I've been evicted. I've been arrested because of not wearing a mask. But I think public safety and public health comes first, but then freedom is also important.
But again, now it comes to an individual, because you've gotten with the mask in public gathering, there's no action will be taken against you. So it also considered the private decision or individual decision also matters.
Okay.
Do you feel going to the public without it?
But Kenyans are a versatile group.
Because there's just a good number of people who are dealing in masks. There's a good number of population who are actually selling masks. What is their fate now?
And now the sales will have to go down. But then we have to consider the environment, and we have to consider how people feel about masks. But again, it's a personal choice. If you decide you want to wear a mask, you'll be able to wear it as long as you feel right for you. But then people are going to lose source of income. Yeah,
income actually, and so it goes with the say that whatever things that comes out, whatever encounter, there will be opportunities, and at the same time there are losses. You see, some were reaping from the corona disease, the onset of masks. There's just a good number of people who are reaping from it financially. Of course, the dealers of masks, there are those who are making them, tailors, and all those. Of course, other products, of course, the sanitizers and the rest. And so it came with opportunity. At the same time, it came with the losses. And so even the stoppage of wearing it, or the lift of it, I would see some opportunities, and at the same time, it would Moving forward, we see another story that is given weight, of course, those that happened over the weekend. We are just trying to review some of the top news stories, that are given weight. Of course, majority of them unfolded over the weekend. Of course, we see relief for border riders, stoppage of the crackdown on the operations.
We talked about that on Friday.
Of course, this is now wonderful. Different political classes, different political parties have been vehemently opposed to this, and we see now government lifting that particular crackdown. County, they were like celebrating. The moment the crackdown was stopped, they were there celebrating that everything is okay. It was just an awesome time for them now. And so moving forward, we see some of the sections of ANC members, they are now saying, should Mudavadi not be now appointed as the Kenya Kwanza running mate, of course, for DP Ruto, then they'll leave to quit the coalition.
You see, we are seeing that this is something that is playing out in both coalitions. We've just talked about, we've said there's the Kalonzo Raila situation whereby Kalonzo wants to be the running mate, and then there is the deputy and the Mudavadi situation whereby Mudavadi now wants to be as the running mate. So some of the members of the ANC say that if they leave, but now it's a bit tricky because
noticed that DP is interested in picking somebody from the region, from the Mount Kenya region, and that would be a loss to them. Of course, they are saying, should it be the case, then they'll get to quit.
It is an issue of coming to terms with the political climate that is there right now. So what is the most practical thing for the DP to do? Because it took time for him to convince Mudavadi to join his coalition, and there is that aspect whereby the MPs affiliated to him from Central Kenya have been with him since day one. Mudavadi just came on board recently. So with them, they had known all along that they would get the deputy running mate or the running mate for the presidency from their region. But now Mudavadi came in and is demanding. He has these demands. Now it will depend on what leverage they have in terms of how many votes will they give the DP, or who is the most practical to become the running mate.
Who can actually attract more votes.
Yeah.
But of course, political analysts say that the Mount Kenya region is a vote-rich region, and of course, picking a running mate from that particular region would see, a lot of voters getting to that particular
that's
coalition.
what cuts both ways.
And it's the same in the
Western.
it's the same in the Azimio la Umoja. That's also a question. Now Kalonzo is there, of course Moi is there, and others. But Mount Kenya region, of course Peter Kenneth is there being proposed. Of course allegations go thereby.
And you
But
remember
it's now a big question. The question of running mate is now a very big question.
And you remember when Raila was starting off his campaign and saying that he will run for president, he was there was that notion of climbing the mountain. He was taken to the safari park, and then there were the businessmen from central Kenya. They all came together and endorsed him, right? You remember that?
I remember very well.
Now, don't you think that he also owes the central Kenya region
A promise,
a
a debt, of course, not even a promise. That's more than a promise. That's a debt now to pay.
So now that is the quagmire that we
And
have
so
right
there's
now.
a lot in the world of politics, political quagmire, of course. Then we see Moses Kuria joining the Kenya Kwanza now. Yesterday in a mega rally, the Kenya Kwanza mega rally, of course, in Kiambu County. You saw them in Georgia, Kiambu, of course, Thika Stadium.
But you see, Moses Kuria was giving mixed signals. Initially, he had acted as if he wanted to join
the Kalonzo, the Kalonzo party.
Yes.
Of course, the Oka, before Oka got to the Azimio la Umoja.
Then he did a U-turn and decided that he would go with the deputy president.
But do you think the fact that Azimio la Umoja got into the fact that Oka got into Azimio la Umoja could be one major reason of barring Kuria from getting to that trip and taking this other side?
But they've had a good working relation with Raila.
Because earlier on they were deliberating, they were held up in conversations just to see if he could join. Of course, there were rumors that he was to join, but later again he went silent.
Moses Kuria
until yesterday that he joined openly this Kenya Kwanza coalition.
Moses Kuria had said that he wanted to be president before he had his accident with a blanket and whatnot, and went to Dubai.
Of course, being the president.
Yes, he decided he wanted to be the president. He wanted to run with his own. He had created even his own party. Now, for him to do a U-turn with Oka, as you said, maybe that could be the reason that instigated that could be the reason that Oka decided to go and join Azimio, and maybe Moses Kuria did not want to go that
maybe
way.
He was opposed to Azimio la Umoja.
So he decided, let's go to UDA. Again, there is in the papers we see Shungwa, the MP of Kikuyu constituency.
Kimani Shungwa.
Kimani Shungwa telling Moses Kuria that he does not want him to bring his confusion to the UDA party. But we know that he's also a very outspoken person. He likes controversies.
Right.
And we don't know how that will work out. But again, he has his own backing in the central region, and will bring more votes to the Kenya Kwanza coalition. So
and
again,
of course, it's eyeing the gubernatorial seat for Kiambu. A very contested, seat. Of course, there we have William Kabogo.
We have Njoro,
we have Njoro, the current governor, and so it's also a very contested.
We have Wamatangi, also the senator, the current senator for Kiambu.
Of course.
And these are political bigwigs in that region, in the central region, and they all have their backing, and they have their
a good number of followers,
So we'll wait and see how that works. It's actually one of the most competitive gubernatorial
counties in Kenya, of course. Of course, Homa Bay is also there. You can remember having a lot of contestants for that particular post. Of course, Evans Kidori is there, John Badi is there. The woman representative for Homa Bay County, Gladys Wanga, is there, among many other political, competitors for that particular position who are already showing their interest. Thank you very much. I see Chacha Vitali saying it's watching live, of course. Samson Henry also following live the show from Kehancha. Remember, you are listening to Pure Africa Radio. At the same time, you are tuned into the breakfast show, of course, watching live the Pure Africa TV breakfast show, coming to you live from Pure Africa Radio, Pure Africa TV. My name is Odhiambo.
And my name is Mwita.
Remember to follow us in our social media platforms, of course, Facebook.
It's Pure Africa TV.
YouTube, of course, Pure Africa TV.
Twitter, Pure Africa TV, Instagram, Pure Africa TV.
Remember also to get to download our official application. Of course, that is the Pure Africa TV official app. Simple. Just get to your Google Play Store, type there PA TV official app, and I tell you, our Pure Africa TV official app will be there as the number one option. All you need to do is just to have it installed and get to install it in your Android smartphone, and I tell you, you'll be able to get all the services, of course, all the live shows and programs from Pure Africa TV at the same time from Pure Africa Radio. And not just that, having that particular platform, you'll be able to follow, of course, your favorite series and movies from Pure Africa TV. Remember, we are already getting feedback from the consumers of that particular platform or that particular application, saying that, you know, it's such a wonderful platform, it's such an interactive platform. Of course, they are able to get all this that we are tailoring to you in the real time. And so, do not be left behind. Get your Pure Africa TV official app. Be at par. We are in the second bit of this particular show, of course, where you expect much about politics, entertainment, business, of course, some of the headlines in the world of sports. Continue staying with us. In a short while, we'll be back, and once we get back, we'll be getting to the newspapers. Of course, remember, we have the Star newspaper in the studio. We'll get to look at some of the top stories, and thereafter, we'll get to each and every one of those stories, of course, to dig deep into them and to see what transpires. Remember, we'll also be getting to the county section to see what transpires in each and every country, of course, or in some counties that will be captured today in that particular section. And remember, during the breakfast show, of course, in the second bit of the show, we see a given county featuring the hottest topic, and so it will be interesting today to know which particular county will feature the hottest topic for the day. My name is Odhiambo.
My name is Mwita.
Join us even after a short while. We'll be back with much more. Welcome back. Welcome back. This is the Breakfast Show coming to you live from Pure Africa TV, Pure Africa Radio. My name is Odhiambo.
And my name is Mwita.
Remember, we are in the second bit of this particular show where you get to know much about political information, of course, business information, entertainment as well as sports. And so you are a business person there, trying to make up your mind how you can formulate, how you can actually formulate business ideas. Remember, we'll be sharing you with some of the headlines. Of course, you'll get to know the trends in the business arena. And so you're also a political fan there. Remember, we are in the electioneering period. There's just a lot that is unfolding in the world of politics. Right now, we're gonna look at what is coming up in the various newspapers. Of course, we begin with the Stan newspaper. Looking at the front page, of course, I see DP Ruto speaking, my 4 years of hell under Uhuru.
Yeah,
DP has spoken.
Yes.
4 years of hell.
I think this was brought about right after the handshake was made between Raila and
So these are 4 years after the handshake.
The marriage was starting to split, the political marriage
after the handshake.
After the handshake. So now there was a lot of I think the DP was getting frustrated because he was not getting the time that he needed with the president, and he was not making the influence on influencing.
Actually feeling that his boss had abandoned him.
And when he became the DP at that time, there was this notion that they were at the same level. They used to wear matching ties. They used to come out and give briefs together.
Of course, friends, brothers.
Brothers.
My brother William.
Yes.
Remember, that was the name of that time.
And then the president decided to leave him out in the cold, went behind him, decided to do the handshake with Raila Amolo Odinga, gave Raila Amolo Odinga, there was a post that he was given, a job to the AU, and he was given like state rights and all that. And
of course, remember later, this when Matiang'i was empowered with one very powerful position.
Yeah.
And of course, we saw DP was not, that well pleased with it.
There was a time
he actually, to him, he was looking at it at his boss abandoning him, working with other ministers or cabinet secretaries, a post that he would otherwise do.
There was a time pundits were saying that Matiang'i had more power than the deputy president, and maybe the 4 years of hell.
So
it was just a separation that was happening.
So that is the 4 years of hell. That between after the handshake and now. But you see, it's even increasing. It's even becoming hotter.
We see the DP when he went to his tour to the United States and United Kingdom. He threw jabs at the president, saying that there is corruption, there is a lot of things.
And that which was perceived to be, talking ill about his home country when he's outside there. Of course, he talked about the issue of a questionable democracy in Kenya. Because he also talked about the corruption as a result of the dead, opposition in Kenya. Yes, he also talked about the vote rigging, and so he just talked about several things that were, in contrary to the Kenyan government.
Let's not forget that he was within that same very government that he's trying to criticize right now. That he's saying that the hell under Uhuru, and at that time he had the opportunity. If he felt that the argument that they had with Uhuru was not up to par, he had the opportunity to do what? Walk away from the government and become what? The opposition.
Because remember the other day in the western part of Kenya, DP saying that all the successes of Jubilee he has to claim, but now distancing himself from the failures. So it's also something that that was seen to be debatable, that was seen to be questionable, especially. But it is now upon the citizen to air or to weigh these two particular sides of the story. There's the handshake, and there are those that are pro-handshake. But now weighing the two sides of the story as a listener, as a voter, as a Kenyan citizen, do you see there's much development, or in which particular era do you see development coming? Was it before the handshake, or is it after the handshake? Now it is upon the Kenyan citizen, of course the voter, to decide the fate of this particular story. And moving forward, we see how South African anger has focused on foreigners.
Xenophobia.
Also, we see mastery of C-sections doubling after state initiative. This also captured in this particular newspaper. Of course, we see Obama test positive for COVID-19.
Yeah.
It's also captured. And so COVID-19 is still there.
It's still there, but there was talk about the Omicron variant.
The Omicron variant.
But then the Omicron variant, it said that it's not as brutal as the previous variant.
Of course, but transmission, it transmits faster. But when you come to infection, it's slowly infectious. But transmission very fast.
It's not as lethal as the previous variant.
Of course. But its transmission is very fast. But it's good in Kenya, looking at the data or going through the statistics in Kenya, you realize that the positivity rate has really reduced. The positivity rate has really reduced. And I think this is one of the factors that prompted the health CS, Mwita Kagwe, to lift the issue of mask wearing in public places. And so to Kenyans, it's a sign of relief. But to other states, of course, we see it's still continuing. But what is most important, vaccination must not stop.
Yeah, true.
Kenyans must continue being vaccinated, of course, and other preventive measures to COVID-19. And moving forward, we see the issue of KCSE examination, of course. 831,015 students to sit for KCSE exams starting today. Of course, we believe it has started. It has already started.
By now they have already started. Yeah,
it has already started. Of course, we saw Cabinet Secretary for Education, Professor George Magoa, making an order or making a warning, sounding a warning to those that could be, could be planning to engage in exam malpractices. Saying that it will be very rough on them. They'll get to face the wrath of the law should they be held culpable in that. But it's good news. We've seen, of course, even during the KCPE, we've seen the cases of cheating, examination malpractices reduced, and so there's a sign that even to the KCSE it will be very minimal, if not totally not there. Moving forward, we see Musalia's party now wants DP slot in Kenya Kwanza.
Yes.
But this particular story was also captured in the top stories that were given weight. But remember also, there are the conditions that were set, especially those that were pronounced by the registrar of political parties, and the Ritu giving the calendar for nominations and all those saying this time round, once you fail to be nominated in a given party, no migrating to another party, whether be independent or
don't run.
You support that particular candidate.
Yes.
And so that's also a big question, especially to those that are planning, to abandon some coalitions and parties to join others. There will be no room for joining others unless you be independent.
I am foreseeing a situation whereby we'll be having a lot of independent candidates in this time round. Because again, a lot of people want to be nominated to the parties, a lot of people want this political post, but if they do not have the support of parties, what is the most logical thing they will do?
And of course, nomination will not favor everybody.
Yeah.
And so
there is only one slot per party.
Several independent candidates are likely to emerge, but time will tell.
And you know what would happen previously was once you lose nomination in one particular party, you decide that since I will go and look for a smaller party.
Let me get to that other party and try my luck there.
Or just outright pay for the nomination fee and you get your nomination certificate from that party. But now, right now, it would show that there would be no hopping from one party to the next. Either you stand as an independent candidate,
or you
support the candidate that you lose to, or you get that nomination. There is
no that nomination. And so it's another move that it will get to star reactions from various politicians, especially after nominations or during the nominations. That is when this particular reality will come to be known. And moving forward, we see ODM leader Raila Amolo Odinga now travels to UK, travels to US. because just a day after being nominated as the best presidential flag bearer for the Azimio la Umoja. But what is the secret in UK? That's a question that people could be asking. What's the secret? We saw DP coming the other day, and of course, while DP was there, we saw these other leaders that are allied to Azimio la Umoja, calling upon him to be back and campaign in Kenya. Stop talking ill of Kenya in the United States. But now we see Raila Amolo Odinga also getting there.
That's
and
right.
You see, the attention is now focused to whatever Raila would be saying there, because it's expected to meet some of the top political, some of the top, leaders, of course, even the spiritual leaders there. But now the focus is on what he is likely to say there. Then compared to whatever DP said while he was there.
Again, it's all about creating diplomatic relations, because both of them are seeing the potential of them becoming the president, and you need to have friends just not within the country but also outside the country. For in the case for Raila going there, it becomes a bit peculiar, because right after the DP has just left the US and the UK, the Right Honorable Amolo Odinga decides that now
the same place, of course, meeting some of the same people.
And then it's going to assure the diaspora that the country is going on, because you realize the diaspora remit a lot of money to this country back home, even though they live and work in different countries such as the US and the UK. And again, he's going to talk about his own agenda to the diaspora over there.
And of course, bearing in mind that there are a good number of Kenyan citizens, Kenyan nationals in the diaspora countries, yes. And of course, they also participate. I saw the other day they were really applauding the government for allowing them, to participate in the voter registration, and so they are hopeful that they also be allowed to participate. And most interestingly, we even see some Kenyan nationals living in diaspora already showing their interest to vie for political positions, of course, and they are accepted. And so that's a plus.
And it just goes to show how far our democracy has gotten. That you can live outside the country, but you can still have an opportunity to vote and to follow up whatever political climate is going on in the country.
And so we expect our leaders, even as they go there, not just to major on the foreigners, but also to get to indulge the Kenyan nationals in those diaspora countries. Remember, you are listening to Pure Africa TV. This is the breakfast show, of course, the second bit of this particular show, coming to you from Pure Africa TV at the same time from Pure Africa Radio. And moving forward, we're gonna divulge attention and get to this other section. Of course, this is the business section, just to see what transpires or what is given weight in the business section. Of course, looking at the top story. We are getting to this county section. Later on, we'll get to the business section. Looking at the county section, we see Homa Bay nurses to strike over error in February salary. And the strike is there. Remember the other day we were talking about the strike. We saw it in Mombasa County, and here we see Homa Bay county again. Ever since
health was devolved to the counties, there has been a lot of strikes involving doctors and nurses. At this point, we have to ask ourselves, was the health supposed to be devolved? Was it supposed to be a task of the county?
Or as to whether health should be taken to the national government again?
Because the national government has proven to be quite effective in running whatever dockets that were left with. For instance, security was left with the national government, and they are running it quite well. In the case of health, we are seeing right now, doctors are at an impasse. You find that sometimes they can be within working in a particular county is actually better than other counties, because it depends on how that county is being run. But in the case of Homa Bay, the error in February salary payment, I think that's something that can be
because you see the county has more than 1,200 nurses, and 3/4 of them have not received their February salary. That is alarming. That is alarming. And so it poses the question as to whether is the county government really able to run the health sector, or should it be taken again to the national government? Of course, you can share with us your thoughts, viewpoints, and opinions, especially concerning that. Remember, health is a very important sector.
Exactly.
Health is a very important factor, and so you can just imagine the fate of the patients, especially during the time that doctors are seen to be striking. What is the fate of the patients?
And this is not an isolated incident. It has happened within Machakos County. It has happened in Kwale County. It has happened in
Mombasa County. Now we see Homa Bay County.
And I think that's a conversation that should be put out there. Should health continue to be devolved the way it is, or should be left to the national government?
Of course, more nurses were likely to start striking today after they failed to receive their payment. Of course, that is the February payment. And so it's a call on the government, to hold the nurses together in various counties. Those that are the county government, get to converse with this with the health sectors, not nurses, just to see the health sector now moving forward, and to see the strikes being minimized, so that health sector can be driven well, just like any other sectors. Of course, we see the security sectors, but security sector again is questioned. You see the Baringo violence, or these attackers in the Baringo County, they are on rise again. And
I believe that the only way they can be able to solve that Baringo crisis is to bring local leaders together, because there has been talk about, they are the ones that have been instigating those raids, and they have been instigating those conflicts that are going over there. There was also a story about a white helicopter that has been going to the area, and people are assuming that it's bringing their arms and whatnot. Now, for this is a problem that should be solved within the Baringo region and the people living there, because once you try and bring force from outside, and we've seen that happen in Kapedo, where police servicemen have been killed because those people are well conversant with the terrain.
Kapedo, Arabal Tiati.
Yeah, there is Suguta Valley. There are regions that the only way to solve the conflict going on through there is to involve the people that live there. And now you've asked the question about evolution and in the case of
the health,
and in the case of security there.
Of course.
The problem with Baringo is that this is something that has happened, and it's a cultural thing. The raids are something that has happened over and over again in so many generations. There have been conflict between the Pokot and the people of their neighbors, rustling of cattle, and displacement of people. Especially this problem gets even more worse during seasons of drought and famine, because now they do not have places where they can take their animals. So once these people meet again, they start clashing over it. And there is also the issue of politicians who have been involved. There have been allegations. These are not. They are being politicized. They are being politicized in order to displace other people and to cause all that. And again, the national government has been handling it well, but I believe that there is more that they can do in order to ensure that this conflict is put to end, because this is the 21st century. So we shouldn't have Kenyans who
and even engage the county government, national government, in collaboration with the county government, to see the matter actually settled. And moving forward, we're in the county section, just looking at some of the stories that are given weight in this particular section. Of course, this is the county section. We see right groups now loud suspension of punitive border crackdown. Says a crackdown was punitive and unconstitutional, and it as it announced or as it appeared to the Kenyans. Of course, we saw political groups being opposed to it, calling it to an end, and so over and over again we saw it eventually being stopped.
It felt like a witch hunt. It felt like just because 6 or something, or maybe 10 or 12 people had done something, now the whole industry was bad. That put you that notion that you do not throw away the baby with the bathwater. Whereby if something is bad, you just try to make a few changes and just remove the bad things about it. Don't try to overhaul the whole industry.
Remember, it was seen being economic being economic sabotage, affecting the economy. Of course it had started. Remember on Friday, these members of various companies now complaining that their delivery is not up to date. So it was also another serious menace, but we see everything is now okay. And of course we see the border riders now celebrating. They're now celebrating. They can as well move with their operations as usual. And moving forward, we see Kisumu Teachers Circle rebrands to Keystone in expansion plan. Of course, it's also captured in that particular section, Kisumu County. Then we see ex-Manyata MP Kathuri ditches DEP for Jubilee. Because this is the time now to, migrate from one political party to another. Because after nomination, that particular chance will not be there.
So people are trying, it's called testing the waters.
Testing the waters. And this is now the time to test the waters.
And so politicians will be jumping from one party to the next. And it's something that happens every time there is elections. And they are allowed to do that. It's their right. They need now to decide which party they feel comfortable with and which party they would want to carry the flag when they are going to the nominations or to the elections in August.
Of course, also the matter of fertilizers is also captured here. Provide subsidized fertilizers to farmers. MP Moro now tells the state. Of course, the subject of fertilizers has also been debatable, bearing in mind that with the loss of fertilizers and the increased cost of obtaining these particular fertilizers, there have been cries all over the country, different counties, that there should be a reduction in the cost of fertilizers, so that they may get to embark quite seriously on agriculture. Remember, agriculture is one of the backbone for the countries. This is the one of the backbone
for this country
as far as economy is considered. And moving forward, we see addressing Gikomba traders polite top on my agenda. Of course, Ngatia speaks to the Gikomba traders.
There have been incidents of Gikomba banning periodically, seasonally, and it's been attributed to people trying to push the traders from there. There was even talk of removing all those, trying to change the way Gikomba is run. But Ngatia is an individual that is trying to run for the governor's seat of Nairobi, and there was also controversy because there were allegations of corruption with him and so many other things in between. But again, it's promises, and it's a season where we'll get a lot of promises. Politicians will come and tell us the things they will do for us.
Of course, some of them will come to be realized, some of them will be...
Yeah, so let's just wait and see. If he gets a chance, maybe he'll be able to solve the Gikomba issue.
Of course, we see the Kenya National Chambers of Commerce Industry President said the top of his agenda will be to address multiple trade licenses charged by the county government. No, politicians have a lot of good agenda
and sweet words,
and so it's now the right of the Kenyan voter, Kenyan citizen to decide their fate. Of course, to know who will be responsible, who will actually bring forth this agenda, this developmental projects that they propose or they purpose to bring. It's now the Kenyan citizen, it's now the Kenyan voter to decide their fate, and actually through voting, not through violence. It's just through voting to solve them and to see their fate decided. Remember this Pure Africa TV, Pure Africa Radio. Of course, you are listening to Brave Show as well as watching it live, coming to you both from Pure Africa TV, Pure Africa Radio. My name is Odhiambo.
And my name is Mwita.
Remember to continue staying with us. We're in the second beat of this particular show. Of course, you can follow us as well on our social media platforms. Remember, we are live in Facebook, of course.
That is Pure Africa TV, and Twitter, Pure Africa TV, in Instagram, Pure Africa TV.
Of course, YouTube as well is Pure Africa TV. Remember also to get to download our official application, of course, the Pure Africa TV official app. What you need to do is simple. Just get to your Google Play Store, type PA TV official app, and I tell you there, you'll be good to go having our Pure Africa TV official app. Having that particular application will make you a winner. I tell you, you'll be able to enjoy all the live shows and programs right from the Breakfast Show and other programs, of course, live from Pure Africa TV, Pure Africa Radio. Continue staying with us in a short while. we'll be back even proceeding to the third bit of this particular show. And remember, just to highlight you to remember, today in the third bit of this particular show, we will be talking about the subject of CBC, especially considering considering the reactions towards it, even after it being implemented. Of course, earlier on, we saw it was a bragging of shoulders, but later we see things cooling, everything. Of course, we see those that are receiving it positively, and there are those, quite a good number of people who are still negative about it.
Yes, as you said before, change is something that is usually not accepted at first, but it is inevitable.
Inevitable.
And we cannot use a system that was set up in 1980s and still expect it to be at terms with the world, the way the world is changing.
Also bearing in mind that generations come, generations go, that change of generations.
Curriculum needs to change periodically depending with the times, and it's okay. But there are challenges, there are setbacks, there are limitations of CBC, and that is what we'll talk about.
Remember, getting to the third bit of this particular section or this particular show, because this is a breakfast show coming to you live from Pure Africa TV, Pure Africa Radio. That is gonna be what we'll be talking about when we cross over to that particular bit of the show. My name is Odhiambo.
And my name is Mwita.
And remember, today is also a very good day that our KCSE candidates have begun their national examinations. And so throughout the show, you can drop your wishes for them. Of course, various schools of your interest, of course, your preferred schools. Of course, we'll be shouting your comments as well. But as we wish all the candidates across the country the best wishes, of course, from the breakfast show live from Pure Africa TV, Pure Africa Radio. Join us even as we take a short break. We'll be back in a short while, getting to the third bit of this particular show. My name is Odhiambo.
And my name is Mwita. Welcome back. You are listening to Pure Africa TV, Pure Africa Radio. This is the breakfast show coming to you live from Pure Africa TV, Pure Africa Radio. My name is Odhiambo. And my name is Mwita.
Remember, we are now getting to this third bit of this particular show, such a participatory bit of this particular show. Remember, this is the bit that you need to show us your viewpoint, you need to show us your opinions, you need to show us your mind, of course, your ideologies as far as the subject of study today is concerned. And remember, today we are talking about the subject of CBC, competency-based curriculum. Remember, earlier on when this entire subject was being reinforced, it's so bragging of the shoulders there, the push and pull, but now we can see it has settled. And so, but despite the fact that it has actually settled, does not mean that there are those does not actually guarantee all that not guarantee the fact that all are into it, that those quite a good number of people who are still opposing it.
When the curriculum changed, we we put so much focus on the new curriculum in terms of the students and forgot about the teachers themselves.
Yes.
You see, the teachers had been trained to teach different subjects and the previous curriculum all through their college years until they became teachers. Yeah. So now there was also that other aspect whereby they needed capacity building, whereby the teachers had to be retaught how to teach.
Retaught how to teach. Of course, we saw teachers getting to colleges again just to gather some knowledge about the CBC.
Because it's not something that has been put out there for people to get the information about how the CPC works and whatnot. The thing is, they had to go back to school again to learn how they would be able to run the curriculum.
To cope up with the entire process, to impact this badly needed knowledge to the students or to the children. And of course, remember, tackling this particular subject or looking at the various reactions, reception, today we just want to look at how you receive this subject at large, or you receive this curriculum at large. How do you receive it? But your reception should be in a way related to the benefit of the students, because this particular subject is brought for the benefit of our learners, and so not for the benefit of the parents or what, but our learners. So you as a parent, how do you receive it, especially as far as your child is concerned? As far as your child is concerned, look at the reaction of the children towards this particular
curriculum that was introduced. You notice that the previous curriculum had a system called the numbering system, whereby you'd have children being numbered from position 1 to maybe the last position. But now in the case of the CBC, there is no such thing. Literally, they are given levels in which they are given a grading on their competencies in terms of if you are really good at sports, if you are really good at arts, if you are really good in the sciences,
and of course in delivery. Are you able to deliver in that particular form, as opposed to the 844, where we saw people having very good certificates, of course, A's, B's, of course, some like even for now those that did the 844, you can get somebody graduating with the first class, but now putting into the practical aspects now to deliver, it becomes a headache again. But now with the CBC, of course, you see a lot of focus is derived towards the delivery and competency, just to have that at hand, that practical skill
and
at hand.
And it's hands-on. Children are now getting involved into arts and crafts. They are getting their parents involved in helping them do projects that initially were not there. And there have been downsides in terms of parents are complaining on the books that they have to buy every time. The cost of education has also increased, and we have to notice that inflation is in the country. And since the COVID happened, parents have been able, there have been a lot of economic challenges in the country. But we have to realize also that public primary schools are free of charge, and there are only extra costs, and that's the cost of books, the cost of projects that they are given. Parents have been complaining also on the fact that some of their kids are given homeworks that the parents now themselves have to assist their children, which is also not a bad thing, because you are giving now time with the children with their parents. Because initially the 844 system was you are given your homework, you go back home, you just finish it the next day. Your parent really wouldn't even know what is going on in your school.
You finish and go submit, everything is okay.
And there is the issue of as you said, competency, whereby a parent has to sign off. Whenever their child comes back, you finish your homework today, they have to sign. So they have also to be involved in the education.
So parents are also engaged.
Exactly.
That is the CBC. Remember, you can as well drop your comments there, especially considering this particular subject of discussion. Tell us your view. Tell us your opinion, your mind there. How do you react to CBC, or how do you actually receive it? What is the reception today? We just want to look at about the reception, especially as far as our children who are learners are considered, not for the benefit of the parents, not for the benefit of any other stakeholders, but narrowing it down to the consideration of our children who are the learners. So looking at your child who is a learner, and also looking at the subject of CBC entirely, how do you receive it? What is the reception? What is the reaction, especially even from the kids? So you can even look at your child. What is the what is the reaction of the kid, especially towards that new system of learning. This where you'll get that other children are now catching up, while others will be demoralized again. But looking at yours, how do you know receive the entire process? Share with us. Remember our fan page, of course, social media platforms all are already opened. Just receive your comments, and there we will be reading them in the real time. Remember Facebook.
Facebook is at Pure Africa TV. Twitter is at Pure Africa TV. Instagram, Pure Africa TV.
Remember as well, you can drop your comment through our WhatsApp number, of course, 0796 840560. All right, I see comments already coming in. This Francis Otieno of Homa Bay County saying that CBC is a headache to us. Very expensive.
He's a parent, of course.
So he's saying CBC is a headache. But remember, looking at it, of course, on the perspective of the child who is a learner. It's a headache, of course. It requires a lot of financial requirements there. Of course, that's why some of the parents perceive it as headache. But consider the children. Of course, today our focus is on the children who are the learners.
And any new system that's introduced that people are not used to will always face resistance.
And will always be a headache.
Yes, it will be a headache. And as I've said, there is the issue of the financial
constraints
that the parents have been going through. But maybe that is where the government can do something about, by introducing subsidized books and also providing learning materials to the students for free. But again, once a system is overhauled and is changed, there will always be challenges. But we need to look at the advantages more than the disadvantages of that system. And for me, in my opinion, I think the CBC is a good system because, as I've said, the 844 system was already outdated. And we want children that are more competent and more practical and who can be able to face the real world once they have gotten their education.
Right, I see comments coming in. There's this Faith tuned in all the way from Kisumu, saying, of course, wanafunzi wamechangamka. That's a comment from Faith, saying wanafunzi wamechangamka. So it's that the kids are now, some are enjoying that particular platform. Of course, remember the practical aspects, of course, make the children, of course, the learners, to get they get to the environment. They feel it is lively. Of course, when they jump there, doing some exercise, and so they perceive it well, as opposed to the 844 system, getting to books. That's where you notice that several children were sleeping. Several pupils were sleeping.
It wasn't
in class.
Engaging enough for the students.
So the engagement aspect is also considered there, and see children catching up. Remember, you can as well drop your comments before we can even close this particular show. I see there's a comment from Brian Waweru saying that it's okay. It's okay. Just saying the CBC, it's okay.
Mwita Chacha here. I see a comment that she said that she's now being forced to do the homework for her children, or help her children do the homework. As again,
we've seen the engagement of the parent also being there. But I feel it's good. It's good when parents are engaged. That's when when your child is actually faring well back in school, because you will begin to question him or actually, if you cannot get this particular engagements, you can't see the assignments, the homework and the likes.
And you notice one thing about the 844 system, that it was based on books. Issues to do with art, issues to do with sports. The country had put aside all these, that were non-issues. Like to a point whereby sports was not a career that one would take. If you wanted to become an artist, that would not be a career that one would want to take. But
dancing, of course.
But then the CBC has opened that leeway and has opened that arts can also be done, and you can start as early as possible. And they say the best way to become really good at something that you're doing is to start early. Participate,
begin, practice until you become perfect.
Yeah, so it's a new world out here that people can become musicians, they can become sportsmen, but if they start early, you are giving them an added advantage to
remember that's where somebody can also get to discover his talent, then measure on the talent to make it more perfect, and eventually get to reap out of it. Of course, we've just seen a good number of people now reaping from their talents, not really what they took a course to study, because we've seen several people studying even in the colleges or campuses, universities, studying other courses, but after all they get the certificate and leave it, take it to the parents that you forced me to go for this particular course. Here is the subject, here is the certificate, now let me go back to my talent. And so with the CBC, we can see the aspect of talent enhancement being considered.
It has given teachers an opportunity to be able to gauge children on what best they are good at. Yeah. So initially that was not allowed. You were just told you will do biology, you will do physics at the same time, you're doing history at the same time, you're doing religious education, all combined into one. But right now there is that aspect of specializing from an early age.
Alright, this is the Breakfast Show coming to you live from Pure Africa TV, Pure Africa Radio. Remember, this has been the third bit of this particular show, but we are coming to an end. Remember, today we were also receiving some of the best KCSE wishes to various schools. Of course, I see Sir Philip has already sent his wishes there, wishing the Kisaku Secondary Schools all the best in their national examinations. Of course, moving forward, I see Fred Ochola also wishing all the Tonga Boys students all the best in their national examinations. And so it's a very important day. Our candidates are there. National examination is set to go. Thank you for staying with us even as we began the first bit of this particular show. We were there with you during the second bit of the particular show. Of course, we saw in the county section, we saw the issue of striking being given weight. Of course, Homa Bay County featured the hottest story of the day. We saw the matter of the nurses striking being captured, and so it calls upon the government, both the county government and the national government, to pay a lot of attention, to converse with the nurses to see the health sector move on. Health is a very essential service. Without health, then you can question the life of the entire country. And so we saw that during the second bit of this particular show. Even the third bit of the show, of course, we've been discussing about the subject of the competency-based curriculum, of course, the CBC. Thank you for staying with us. Thank you for commenting, of course, tweeting there. Your comments there are highly valued. Remember to keep tuned to TV, keep tuned to Pure Africa TV. Stay tuned even for the next programs and shows that will come thereafter. Thank you for staying with us. Remember to stay with us or join us tomorrow again at exactly 7 o'clock in the morning, when we'll be back with much more. I've been Evans Odhiambo.
And I've been Mwita.
Thank you very much. Let's meet again tomorrow. Remember to enjoy your day and stay safe.